everyone, thank you for joining me today. We are going to work on some more Valentine cards and doodles and fun, just practice, or they could all turn into cards. So I've already Valentined a piece of paper here, and I really just had fun creating my background with different pinks and different opacities and just kind of having fun with my color in general. And then once I let that dry, I then kind of just moved to doodles. For me, hearts take a lot of warm up. So I have to start making hearts, and then once I kind of get in the practice of it, they start looking better and better. But I want to kind of go over with you some of the pinks I'm going to be using today. I'm using my 48 pan Mungyo set, and it has so many different shades and fun colors to play with. So I wanted to let you know what I'd be working with, because it's going to be a mixture of everything. They all kind of go together and you can use them interchangeably. So this one is Opera Pink, which is pretty much the brightest pink, I would say, in the set. And then this one is Cold Pink, and this one is one of my favorites. To me, it's a true Valentine pink. It just is just so pretty, the color. So that one is Cold Pink. And then next we move to Crimson Lake, which is a pretty typical watercolor color. You can find this in a lot of places. And this one too is a really, really pretty, rich, deep. This would be great for like roses and flowers. If you're doing floral Valentine themes, that would be a good one. And then this one is Rose Madder. And this one too is a great Valentine color, as well as a usual color. So this color's most like a true red with a little bit of pink, you know, so to me it's exactly a Valentine-y color. And then next we have Permanent Rose. Which again would make a great floral color. It's a deep, rich red tone. Little on the maroon side. The next color is Permanent Red. Permanent Red to me is a true red, and it's probably, I would think, what people would instinctively go to for a floral color. But to me, it's like a out-of-the-box crayon red. It's just lipstick red. To me, it just isn't dynamic enough for a floral arrangement, but it definitely has a purpose. It's probably one of the colors I use the least for my Valentines. And then I thought I'd jazz it up with some other Valentine colors, purple. This one I have blue violet and purple. So this one is the blue violet. And it's just so deep and rich and pretty, and it just really pops out. You can see here I used it for a lot of the accents, the balloon threads, the ribbon, give a little different accent to some of the hearts, the pictures with the hearts, just to kind of make it a little different. And then we have the purple shade, which you see in a lot of Valentine arrangements and colors. And so these are the colors I'm going to be working with, and I thought it was important today to show them to you each separate, because like I said, I'm going to be working with them all interchangeably. My Permanent Red is going to be on my paintbrush, and I'm going to dip into my Opera Pink. So that kind of stuff's going to happen a lot. So I wanted to give y'all the general layout of the colors that I'd be using, so you knew how to kind of blend and make your own color palettes today. All right, with that being said, I chose to use this color palette to make it easy for myself, because these are typical holiday Valentine colors. But greens are beautiful with pinks and reds. Blues are beautiful with purples and reds. So feel free to mix it up and do non-typical Valentine's colors. So I've already begun doing some doodles, just kind of practicing and, you know, getting my feet wet. And one of the other things I had seen out and about shopping that I really liked was a paint set, a stamp set. In that stamp set, it had a ton of little doodles and stuff. So as I've been shopping around, I have been keeping an eye on fun patterns, color schemes, all sorts of different things like that that I like. And I just take a picture and then I come home and I try and duplicate it, replicate it to my liking. And it makes it so easy because all of the design is done for you, and half of it anyway. And then you can kind of come in yourself and make it your own. And so it just helps. It's half the battle of being creative and getting the job done, for getting cards out, you know, making Valentines for your kids, teachers, all those kinds of things. So one of the ones I saw was a stamp that it was inverted. So the hearts were not a color, and then the rectangle around it was the color. So I thought, oh, that would be so cool. I have this jar of masking fluid that I haven't used yet, and I am just going to use an old paintbrush to make some hearts on my doodle page. And these hearts, I'm making a V. I'm being particular about the V that's here, creating the 2 heart bumps. And then I'm just bringing my paintbrush down to make the bottom point. I'm going to let those dry completely, and then I'm going to come back over with a deeper color, paint over it, maybe even a gradient blend, and then we're going to remove the masking fluid. So I made sure to use a brush that I don't normally use because the masking fluid can potentially ruin it. So I'm not using a super good brush. I'm using one that's kind of been around for a while. That was actually in my daughter's paint section, but it was a perfect size and it didn't much matter if it got ruined. So, all right, so the next doodle that we're gonna work on is gonna be something like this one, which is just a little strand of hearts with bows on the top and the bottom. But I'm gonna do it in a way that can make a total card. So I'm gonna be using my size 2. Depending on the size of your card, you can use whatever size you want, make your hearts whatever size you wanna make them. So I'm just gonna go down and make a string of hearts, and I'm gonna do kind of the same thing I did over here with these hearts, I'm gonna worry about the little V there and just kind of beef them up as we go down. Yeah, something like that. And then you can spend your time, you know, making it a size that you like. That was opera pink, so now I'm gonna go into the cold pink that I have and do the same. All right, so as we stagger these hearts, I'm just kind of working my palette up and down, and I'm gonna make different strands, different sizes, kind of starting and stopping. It takes, for me, a lot of concentration to work on these hearts, and I try and break it down into steps to make it easier for myself. So one of the tips that I do for myself is to start with the V and just kind of round it on the sides and then bring that down to the point at the bottom. And then from there I can kind of shape it, make it a little softer and a little larger on one side, that type of thing. But it's sometimes these smaller hearts, you know, like the smaller it is, the harder, with the more detail, the harder it is to paint. So with these little ones, sometimes it's easier just to go in through and do something like this. Because it's just a couple of strokes, and when it's not perfect, it actually looks better. And the great thing about this one that I'm showing y'all is once these hearts are done, this is the hardest part, because then becomes the fun part of we get to add some detail, and then that's where it really starts to show itself. So then I'm going to take some of my purple You can do whatever color you want, a mixture. And this is where I'm just gonna kind of connect them, make our little strand. And if they're still wet, that's okay. That actually looks nice too. We can mix in some of the darker purple. All right. And so for the bows, I like to do them a couple different ways. You can do kind of like a square, rounded square box in the middle, and then you take your sides and you can do these kind of however you want, elongated like that. And then I like to just come in and make some of the rounded parts a little thicker, just to kind of mimic some depth. And then I like to do my little strands kind of swiggly and then make them thicker at the bottom. You can leave them thin. It's up to you. You can fill in this middle part if you want. You can make some kind of action lines. And then another way to do it is just more kind of on the rounded side. So you would do your rounded center in the middle. And then more of a rounded side. This. And two, you can make kind of the circle parts thicker. And then you just bring it down. Like that for a little bow. Just kind of make it a little thicker on the circles, around the edges. All right, so the first step of our trellis curtains of hearts is done. We're going to come back in and add some details with some of our gold and silver and sparkly fine liners and things like that. So now that our 3 hearts are dry with our masking fluid, we're going to come in and do our fun little gradient of colors. So I think I'm going to do opera pink, cold pink, and crimson lake, because I think these 3, I think they're all kind of alike. And so I think that they will blend well together as a gradient. So I am just going to start, up here with my opera, and then move into my cold pink. And just kind of start a little bit above so that my gradient comes in. And then move to my crimson lake, and this one's kind of dark, so I'm going to stay maybe a little on the diluted side, and move up a little on my cold pink and come down like that, so we have a real pretty gradient. Isn't that beautiful? Oh, I love that. Okay, so we're going to let that dry, and then we're going to come in and peel off our masking fluid to reveal those hearts. Another quick and fun one that I saw out and about that I really liked was doing kind of like this cloud one. You do like a variation of just some hash marks, and then can do one that's just one single line and shorter. And we can do some dots maybe coming down. Then we can do some more little hash. And they can be, kind of sideways if you want, all sorts of angles and positions. It really doesn't matter. Can come up from this way, can do dots coming this way. It's whatever kind of pattern you're going for, whatever shape your card is. And then we get to the bottom and we do our fun little heart. So you can do some that aren't filled. You can do some that are filled. just basically making them to where they're kind of at the end of our lines here, whichever lines you've made. This one can be open in the middle. Sometimes when you do them open in the middle and then you're like, ooh, I don't know if I like that shape. You can fill them in and make the shape a little better for yourself. You can do some purple. And some other cute ones that I saw out and about. Just kind of doing like swirlies, something like that, with some hearts on the side. If you wanted, when this one was dry, you could even come in and kind of do it again, kind of over, something like that. So here I've just made a little circle with my compass. I'm going to kind of do some hearts at the central points, the north, south, east, west, and in those positions. You can fill these in, you can leave them just lines, you can double them up, something like that. And then I can come in and since I have that circle line, I have a good spot to just be able, a good reference for the middle to just be able to come in and make some leaves / other little hearts, you know, something like that, all around the circle. And then once this is dry, you can brush out the pencil mark and kind of come in and give them some different paint in there too. If you wanted to bleed, do some bleeds. You could have done that with the hearts too. If you wanted, you could take a smaller brush. You can just kind of make the circle that way. And that way it all just kind of blends together. Gorgeous, so pretty. Kind of along this line, if you wanted to do one with the word love, if you are a good calligrapher or letterist, can come in with some hearts all around. This is my size 2. It's really just about getting the inspiration and getting out there and doing it, you know, looking at the things around you that give you inspiration. And it doesn't have to be anything big, you know, it's just like going down the card section at the pharmacy or the grocery store and just kind of keeping your eye open during those seasonal times, because now all of the Valentine stuff comes out pretty much sometimes 2 months ahead. So you have plenty of time to kind of look around and look for your inspiration. Those are awesome. I love that. Okay, so I'm going to pull up the masking fluid, and I have a special tool I bought. I think I'm going to kind of fix this one a little bit. There we go. Just kind of smooth it out. I used a little bit of cold pink and the Crimson Lake And now I'm just gonna kind of feather it out a little bit, blend it into my gradient, just to kind of give it a more even feeling there. Oh, that turned out great. I think that's so pretty, and I love how you can see the background in there. It's not just white. Really like that. Okay, so I think this is pretty much dry. So now we're gonna kind of do our fun little details, and I'm just playing around. So I'm just gonna do a little bit of everything just to kind of get a feel for what I like. So I have some fine liners here by Winsor & Newton. I have tons of jelly rolls, one in like a black sparkle, silver sparkle, gold sparkle. And then I have my gold Uniball Signo and my fine tip Posca. So I'm just gonna kind of experiment with all of these. I'll kind of work in my fine lines first. I have 0.1, 0.3, and 0.5. 0.1 being the smallest. I'm just gonna kind of come in and outline, roughly outline some of these things, and intentionally not staying directly in the lines of everything. That's kind of pretty. I like that. Okay, so that was the 0.1. This one is the thicker 0.3. I'm going to try it up here. Okay, I like that one too. I tend to usually like the finer ones, the ones that kind of give me the more scritchy, scratchy look to it. And then here is my thicker 0.5. Okay. And then I'm going to come in with my silver jelly roll. Maybe outline the hearts a little. Again, just kind of making heart shapes. So if it winds up inside or outside, it does. And then I'm going to do it again. Kind of inside the first heart that we drew. That's pretty. I don't know if y'all can see that, but it really hides my mistakes, gives it a little bit of interest, kind of takes your eye away from one thing in particular and kind of moves it around. This one I'm going to try my fine tip gold Posca because it is pretty fine. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to outline my bows and my string in between. And then I think I might do some dots inside my hearts. I'm going to do my 0.1 again and outline these as well. And then I'm going to use my black jelly roll. Okay, I'm going to outline this. And do another little heart in the middle, kind of like I did the first one. And then for this one, I'm going to do, I think I'm going to go inside, not outline, but just kind of go inside everything, over everything. And maybe do like a different type of outline, like broken lines. Around the heart. And my silver jelly roll. Just gonna kind of do some dots in there. That's fun. I like doing that kind of stuff. Oh, and then I also thought too, for like the love or even these, you can kind of do, the same type of thing. You just kind of outline or make different shapes around. Some of these are still wet, so this one, oop. And try and curve inside. This one I didn't have a heart. So I'm going to do my black. And I'll just come in with like this pretty red and just outline it. It's pretty. And then I thought too with this love, kind of doing the same. I like that one how it is, but I'm just gonna try because I'm experimenting. So I'm just going to rewrite it for myself. Not bad for a first try. Probably do it a little different the second time. And then some of the other fun things you can do with the markers and whatnot is the same thing, you know, with just normal hearts that you're drawing. Is just kind of, you know, giving them a little bit of dimension or pizzazz by just kind of filling them in. And one of my intention for doing this doodle sheet was to be able to create all these doodles, and this is like a 10 by 14 size sheet, and then cut them up and do a 5 by 7, a 4 by 6, and just do different size cards by just kind of cutting up these cards here. And with these hearts, it's a little harder when you start doing words and stuff, but you still can do it. But for just doing the hearts and the shapes and things like that, it would be perfect to do that. You could just use one big sheet of paper, do a whole bunch of different hearts and patterns like these squiggles and, you know, really anything you wanted. And then you just cut it up. You know, you can make 4 different cards out of it. One of the things that I saw when I was just kind of looking around a lot was basically this theme of using plants with the heart. So like this one is supposed to be a kind of floral arrangement, you know, just kind of like wildflowers, and the flowers are the hearts. The same with this one. You know, here having, you know, a wreath with the heart and the floral, the greenery arrangement here with the heart. This heart is one of the funnest ones. I enjoyed doing this one. It took a little bit of thought because you make the swirl and then you come into the heart and make it, you know, the long point. Now, when you're right-handed, the right side's gonna be hard, and when you're left-handed, the left side's gonna be hard. So I had to think about it, like, okay, I have to do it the same way, so I need to start kind of a little bit in the way inside and bring it down. So I liked that one because it's a little bit of a brain teaser. And then you just add, from here, you add the leaves, so you can kind of go in whatever direction you want, as far as if you want them to be curved like that or straight, or you could do a wreath around this one. And then you just kind of start at the front, the tip, and then you just make these little leaves, you know, alternating the side around. And if you wanted, you could do, alternate having some lines in them. So you start at the front, the top I mean, and then from there you alternate your leaf sides. Like that. I think that's really pretty. Love underneath or anything like that. But I think this is a good start for you guys. Hopefully this gives you some momentum, inspires you, and shows you just how fun, relaxed, easy it all can be. And when you do something like a kind of like a doodle board like this, it really is stress-free. So when I started doing this, I then thought, okay, this one was really fun and easy for me to do, and it turned out really well. This one was, it's like, okay, this one, I feel like my balloons needed a little bit more, you know, detail, a little bit of definition in there. And this was kind of one of my early, you know, hearts. So I wasn't really excited about the way that my hearts turned out in this one. But that's kind of the things that you learn when you do the doodles. You learn that, okay, I need a little bit of warm up on my hearts. You know, I love how this one turned out, but I'd like to give it a little bit more pizzazz. And that's where the fine liners and the acrylic markers and the jazz and all that comes into it. So get out there, get painting, and send someone some sweet love notes. And I will see you guys next time. Thanks for joining me. Bye.